Hi, everyone. This is the Start Your Consultancy Business with Jamf Now session. Welcome to JNUC 2020. And my name is Veronica. I'll be sharing with you today about how you can start your consultancy business with Jamf Now. I've been with Jamf 5 years, and today I help the SMB community find solutions with Jamf and all of our partners. This session is going to focus on a few key concepts to keep top of mind when thinking about how you may want to help SMBs in your area embrace digital transformation with Apple devices. We'll cover solution selling and 4 major topics to consider when helping a business digitize their processes. We'll also take a look at the SMB landscape in the United States specifically to uncover trends and understand what makes an SMB successful. Then we'll showcase the Jamf Now affiliate program, which you can leverage to gain commissions when recommending Jamf Now, and we'll cover off on best practices depending on the business model you're looking to adopt. First, let's talk about what it means to leverage solution selling. In the SMB realm, many customers need help with the entire life cycle of their digital transformation, from what devices to pick, how to manage them with the proper security settings and Apple ID strategy, how to equip their offices with the right networking solutions and empower employees to work remotely, all the way down to which apps will make their teams most productive. That's where you come in. You can serve as a business's trusted advisor to help them roll out a scalable plan for their technology that takes into account every aspect of leveraging technology to create a more productive environment for their employees. And a successful Apple device deployment depends heavily on a customer's access to Apple Business Manager, which is a free program offered by Apple that helps businesses maintain a record of corporate-owned devices purchased through an authorized retailer or directly from Apple. The intent to leverage Apple Business Manager should be made known to the customer's vendor before the purchase is complete. This will ensure that those devices can be associated to Apple Business Manager wirelessly. This is especially important for Mac devices as there is no way to add Macs to Apple Business Manager after they've been purchased. For iOS devices, if you miss the window, you can always use Apple Configurator, which is a free app in the Mac App Store, to add iPhones and iPads to Apple Business Manager after the purchase. When added in this way, these devices will be wiped of their data and held in a 30-day provisional period before being permanently added to Apple Business Manager. But there are 2 arms to Apple Business Manager. One is auto-enrollment, which offers 3 main benefits for devices. They are automatically enrolled into Jamf MDM solutions out of the box. So you can drop ship devices to remote employees, and they'll get all the settings and apps they need without you ever needing to touch that device. The second is a non-removable MDM profile. So devices will always be in communication with Jamf, no matter how tech-savvy that end user might be. And last is wireless supervision. Supervision grants a higher level of management capability and is necessary for many common restrictions and workflows, like single app mode to lock devices into a kiosk, for example, removing access to the App Store, or maybe lost mode to locate a lost or stolen device. Although customers may not identify these things as necessary today, it's much easier to have them available to you should one day your customer decide to switch things up on you. The second arm of Apple Business Manager is volume purchasing, which offers a centralized purchasing portal for free and paid apps a business may need to make available to their employees. This ensures a paid app is owned by the business and not an individual who needs to be reimbursed after using a personal credit card and walks away with that app when they leave the company. There are additional benefits to leveraging volume purchasing as it relates to device management, which gives us more control over the data that flows in and out of any given app if it's purchased through the portal and assigned to devices via Jamf. The last huge benefit is the flexibility it gives to how you can install apps on devices. You can choose to assign licenses of apps to an end user's personal Apple ID, managed Apple ID created in Apple Business Manager, or directly to the device without the need for an Apple ID at all, which is not available without leveraging volume purchasing. So hopefully you've seen the value in Apple Business Manager and how it helps customers get set up for success by creating a scalable deployment workflow that will make things easy as they grow for them and for you, depending on the business model that you decide. You'll also want to recommend a sustainable network that allows us to prioritize traffic in an office for whenever we're able to get back to the office, and can support the number of employees that work there. Another important area to get set up to scale. So as they add more employees, you can help them add additional access points to support the increased traffic. There are many solutions out there, but you can check out apple.com/business/partners to find some networking solutions for small businesses. They may also have partner programs that you can participate in, so that's something to look into as well. Now, when it comes to apps, there are far too many apps out there to choose from. If you're looking for suggestions on which apps are recommended for collaboration across employees in any industry, popular ones, of course, are Microsoft Office 365 or Apple's Keynote Pages and Numbers. If you're looking for apps that offer specific workflows within a given industry to recommend to your customers, for example, Dr. Chrono in healthcare or Procore in construction, check out app recommendations within your Jamf Now account by navigating to apps in the left-hand menu. If you don't have a Jamf Now account, you can view the list by using the demo available at login.jamfnow.com/demo, which we'll be taking a look at in a bit. Many of these solutions offer partner programs of their own as well, so be sure to check out partner pages for any apps you decide to learn more about. Now, if we analyze the SMB landscape in the US specifically, data collected by the Small Business Administration, or the SBA, shows that a little under 50% of all private employment is within the SMB segment. They define SMB as a business with 1 to 500 employees, so quite the range, especially when you consider how those business needs change as the business grows. And it's not easy opening a business, or maintaining it for that matter. My father has had his own business for as long as I've been alive, and 30 years ago, the travel agency was widely used to book those summer vacations or just any flight really. But now there's so many online options, and not to mention the effects COVID have had on the airline industry, he certainly has had to pivot over the years. So as you work with customers, keep that sympathy in mind, because we don't know what folks might be going through. But the SBA found that 80% of businesses survive year one, but only 50% make it past the 5-year mark. And when we check out trends by industry, healthcare organizations have the highest survival rate, which I guess makes sense. Everyone needs care, right? On the other hand, construction companies have the lowest survival rate. And when we take a look at why businesses fail, some of the more obvious reasons include a lack of demand, right? Your product or service won't sell if nobody wants it. And lack of cash flow. Perhaps they aren't charging correctly to cover overhead costs, or they incur too much debt too quickly. But the last one is poor management. And that can include people management, technology management, or managing a growth strategy. But this is where a technology consultant can help. Depending on where in the journey your potential client is, you can help them with many different aspects of their solution stack, like the wireless access points or industry-specific solutions. But once they've decided on the devices they'd like to use, Apple devices, of course, this is where Jamf Now can help. And it's all about asking the right questions. Depending on my audience today, some of you may be extremely familiar with MDM, so pardon me for the recap. But for those of us that are new to the concept, here are some key problems a business will face when managing Apple devices. Much of the experience on an Apple device revolves around the Apple ID, and this is very much a consumer concept. Some horror stories I've heard from customers include needing to create a unique Apple ID and password for every single employee, and manually signing in on each device with each individual email and password, at which point now you're managing emails and passwords. Or the other popular one is using the same Apple ID on all devices, which can definitely turn into an awkward situation when folks start taking personal photos or sending personal messages that sync to every employee's device. We definitely want to avoid that. So the easiest question to ask is, what is your Apple ID strategy? This will open up a discussion to help identify app deployments, personal versus business use, and plans for which Apple ID strategy to implement. Security is also definitely top of mind, especially now as we shift to remote work. The key benefits include passcode policies and enforcement, along with encryption for macOS through FileVault. There may be some nuance based on the customer's needs, but this is always a good place to start. Lost or stolen devices are another topic of discussion. The most important things to note are remote lock and remote wipe to protect company data, and even lost mode to track a lost device's location for those devices that are corporate owned. And inventory may be a simple thing, but there are certainly folks out there that are managing their inventory on an Excel spreadsheet. So leveraging Jamf Now to make sure your inventory is always up to date, accessible all in one place, and exportable can definitely serve to be a big time saver. The last thing to consider is how will this client repurpose devices once an employee leaves? Things to consider are activation lock for employees using their personal Apple IDs and the re-enrollment process. This is where Apple Business Manager can make this as seamless as possible. There's a ton of other questions you can take into account, but these help lay the groundwork for MDM needs. The next thing to consider is what level of management or engagement you'd like to have with customers. And at Jamf, we offer a number of partner programs that can help you accomplish your goals. If you don't really want to get too in-depth with clients, but want to be able to offer a solution to their device management needs, Jamf Now referrals are a perfect place to start. You can drum up interest by socializing your referral link on social media outlets and in conversation with your network. Or maybe you'd like to help get folks up and running for a flat fee based on the scope of the project. This will give you an opportunity to earn additional revenue by working directly with customers to help them get their account set up, and maybe even add devices to Apple Business Manager if they've already been purchased. Lastly, there's managed services, where you manage a customer's Jamf Now account and device deployment for an ongoing fee. This means you'll be the first line of defense for tech support for any given client. This is usually more involved depending on the customer, but offers a way to create recurring revenue in addition to the Jamf Now referral commissions. So the Jamf Now affiliate program can help you start with any of the business models that we mentioned on the previous slide, whether it's referrals, onboarding, or managed services. This program grants referral commissions for the lifetime of a customer's Jamf Now account, as long as it was created with your referral link. The affiliate program pays 30% commissions of a customer's total bill on a monthly basis. So you'll get paid based on the amount of billable devices within a customer's account. Every Jamf Now account, or every Jamf Now customer gets 3 devices to enroll for free, so you'll start earning commissions on the 4th device that's enrolled. These payments are made via PayPal, so you'll need a PayPal account to get started with the affiliate program. And the affiliate dashboard gives you a way to track your referrals, so you know who all has signed up and how many devices they've got enrolled. This offers great intelligence, so you can check in on customers every quarter, for example, and stay updated on their upcoming projects to see where you can help. And if you've got a whole team working with you, you can create individual agents. So each team member has their own referral link, giving you a chance to track referrals by employee. This makes it easier for you to pay out a portion of commissions to your team based on how many referrals they bring in. And when you sign up for the affiliate program, your referral link will be easily accessible with monthly reporting for payouts. Not only that, you'll be equipped with sales and marketing materials to add to your website or create your own sales pitch. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Jamf Now affiliate portal and run through a quick Jamf Now demo to showcase how you can collaborate with customers for a successful partnership. All right, and hopefully you can see my screen here. I'm going to go ahead and log us into the Jamf Now affiliate portal. It's available on any modern web browser, so it should make it easy for you to access your accounts when you need to. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, your sign up link is easily accessible here right when you sign up to the dashboard. You can visit it right from the portal, or you can share using these quick links to some popular social media platforms, or email directly to the customer. We also have this handy QR code, so if you're in person, you can get folks to sign up with that camera. Like I mentioned, these marketing materials are available for you to download, maybe to add to your website as an additional landing page. You also have access to some sales materials should you want to create that sales pitch. And I've obviously not earned any commissions here, but this is where you'll be able to report on new customers, existing customers, and how much you earn on a monthly basis for each. If you want to dive into your specific referrals and learn a little bit more about each of those accounts, you'll be able to click into those under the referrals menu. You'll be able to learn a little bit more about where in the process they are and maybe how much they've grown month over month. You can also take a look at specific agent referrals if you go ahead and have that team and create individual links for them. To do that, you'd head into the agents portion here and add an agent. This will send them an invitation link and they can go ahead and activate their account. Every time you add a new agent, each agent will be provided their own referral link, and this is what will allow you to track them per agent or team member. Keep in mind that if you choose a role here, the administrator role will be able to see all referrals, whereas the agent will only be able to see their referrals. So keep that in mind as you create these accounts. But let's take a look at Jamf Now and how it actually works for your clients. Jamf Now is a cloud-based solution, so it's easy to access accounts from anywhere in the world. Just need a modern web browser and a decent internet connection. But if you want to follow along, I'm just at login.jamfnow.com, and I'm going to click the Try to Demo right here at the bottom. This will log you into a working demonstration. You can use it to show off Jamf Now to customers while you're on the go, or for those sales pitches as you put those together. But of course, when the customer signs up, their account is going to look a little bit different. The first thing they'll need to do is create their push notification service certificate, or APNS certificate. One thing that's important to note is each customer will require their own unique APNS cert as well as their own unique Jamf Now account, right? Because every customer is going to have their own Apple Business Manager account. And so we never want to mix different customer devices within the same account. So you'll have to create, or customers will create their own accounts. If you're offering managed services, this is one important thing to keep in mind. So you can go ahead and make sure that you're organizing yourself if you're creating the APNS certs on behalf of your customers. But they'll go ahead and link their Apple Business Manager accounts with the automated device enrollment portion and the volume purchasing portion. Another thing to keep in mind, if you're offering managed services for your customer, these will require renewal once a year. So be sure to add them to your calendar so you don't miss a mark. And the cool thing is that Jamf Now will allow you to record which Apple ID was used to create these certificates, so you can really keep yourself organized when it comes time for that renewal on that cert. Now, down the line to managed services, if you are offering that for customers and you want to help them manage their Jamf Now account, be sure to add yourself in as a teammate when they create that account. This will give you your own login with your own password, so you don't have to worry about pinging the customer every time you need access to their account. One important thing to note is that one single email can be used for one Jamf Now account. So I can't use the same email to add myself as a teammate to multiple accounts. So what we recommend, especially if you have access to your mail client, is to create, company1@company.com, so you can keep track of those customers with those unique logins. So one thing to keep in mind. But to add a teammate, you'll just add the email, first and last name here. That'll send an invitation for you to activate that link. Now, if we take a look at the device dashboard, Jamf Now will show you kind of a quick view as to the status of your devices. If a client ever calls you and says, hey, Eric is having trouble with his Mac, you can always quickly filter by typing in that name based on the nomenclature that you have set up. We've got some filters too, so if you want to quickly take a look at what needs attention, you can do that by filtering it out here. And we've got a number of views, so if you prefer a list view, you can change that here quickly. And we offer the option to export device data, so if you did need to provide some sort of report to a customer, you can easily export that right here in Jamf Now. But if we take a look at Brittany's iPad, we can see that everything is good to go. So everything has been properly applied. If something hasn't, Jamf Now will let you know, so you can easily remediate any problems that you see. But the first one is around inventory, right? Access to things like serial number, operating system, and capacity will be available here. And you can view pretty much everything that's about this iPad right within the details section. So you've got a lot of information about that inventory. We talked a little bit about activation lock. If you have customers that are letting their employees use a personal Apple ID, they will run into this problem. Typically, you need to go to the Apple Store to get that activation lock removed, but Jamf Now will generate a bypass code for supervised devices. So Apple Business Manager is a big one. So that you can bypass that once an employee's left. So no awkward conversations about emails and passwords. When it comes to remote commands, I can remotely lock a device with a custom message. So if I left my iPad at Starbucks and I can call my IT provider, which would be you in this case, I can go ahead and remotely lock it to require that passcode. Or if I know I'm never going to find it again, I can go ahead and just wipe it clean of that corporate data, so none of that data will be compromised. My favorite one to use is the unlock command. So for folks who tend to forget their 4 to 6 digit passcode, instead of typing it in a bunch of times and then locking themselves out, they can just give you a call after 2 or 3 bad attempts. You can actually remove that unknown passcode for them. They'll have 60 minutes to add a new one that they hopefully won't forget. And a highly sought after command is lost mode. This is available for corporate owned devices that are supervised. So another big win for Apple Business Manager. But this will allow me to remove complete access from the device. So even if I have a passcode, I won't be able to get in. I can add a custom message, even play a sound. And when I enable lost mode, I'll be able to track the location of that corporate owned device, given that it's still connected to a network. So useful for a lot of customers. Now, when it comes to configuring devices, this all works through blueprints. So you can create as many blueprints as you like. This will basically serve as a recipe of settings per groups of devices based on what purpose they serve. But I got a ton of configurations that I can add here. The first is applications. Once I've added my Apple Business Manager account, I can go in and select the apps that I want to make available. Once I hit add, those devices will start to download those apps. Now, if my client or your client is using a cloud solution that does not have an app available, you can leverage web clips, which will make a website look like an app on the home screen, which is pretty cool. You can even add, whoops, typo there. You can even add a custom icon there so they know exactly where to go. When it comes to security, this is where you'll require those passcodes. So depending on your client's needs, you can require a super complex passcode that is extra long if they need that added security, but you have flexibility here in what you can determine. We've got some screensaver options and then the file vault option for macOS. With email, the tradition is, let me hand off this device to the IT person. They'll go ahead and configure it and then give it back to me. Jamf Now makes it easy for you to configure these things over the air. Oops. So the only thing that the user will need to know is their email and password. So this hopefully saves you a little bit of time, not having to physically touch each device if you're offering onboarding or managed services. Same with Wi-Fi. If you're managing the solution stack and you need to change the Wi-Fi password, you can do that within the networking system solution and then go ahead and update that here within Jamf Now so devices never lose connection. And you can really curate the experience based on the customer's use case. There's 75 restrictions, so I won't bore you with all the details, but one thing to note is a majority of the restrictions will require supervision. So another important conversation to have with customers before you add them in. But some popular ones here are removing the app store so you can kind of control what apps they see. Maybe you don't want people deleting apps that you configured so you can make them permanent, or maybe you have to remove the camera for whatever reason. If you want to get real specific on how or which apps they can use, you can head under app usage and say, hey, I'm going to select these business critical apps and these are the only ones that you'll be able to use. Again, supervision required for that one. One other one I'd love to cover with you is the prevent changes to accounts. Conversations that I've had with customers is around personal versus business use. So for our iOS devices, that's iPhone and iPad, I can go ahead and remove the ability for a user to add a personal email or personal Apple ID. That way that device is business focused. And for those unique cases where maybe I need to create a kiosk for my client, I can go in here, select the app that I want to lock it into, and then I've got some hardware options here. So depending on the use case, you can really curate that experience. I can even brand the wallpaper for those supervised iOS devices, so I can upload those images here. Jamf Now will change it for me. Or maybe even add a lock screen message. So if you want a permanent message to be displayed at all times, you can go ahead and add that in as well. Now, if there's anything that you didn't see natively within Jamf Now that you want to provide to your clients, we do also offer a second tier of service called Jamf Now Plus, which gives you access to two things. The first is custom apps. So you can deploy any app that does not live in the App Store, like Adobe Creative Suite or maybe a custom iOS app that you've created. And it gives you access to custom profiles. So if there's a setting that was not available natively, you can use Apple Configurator, for example, to create that custom profile and import it into Jamf Now to apply across all of the devices. Some popular ones that folks look for are things like Web Content Filter and VPN as some of the most popular ones. But that is a little bit about how Jamf Now can help some potential prospects or clients. If any of this sounds interesting to you, please get started today by signing up for the Jamf Now affiliate program. You can also create a free Jamf Now account to get familiar with the solution. So you get 3 devices to enroll for free for your testing purposes. And don't forget to check out all the other JNUC sessions this week. We've got some additional Jamf Now dedicated sessions and a Jamf Now virtual booth for you to stop by for any additional questions. Not to mention, Jamf also offers a wide range of partner programs. You can check them out at jamf.com/community/partners. If you prefer a traditional reseller model, or perhaps you'd like to work with our product teams to build an integration for Jamf Pro, for example, you can fill out the form on the page to learn a little bit more about those options as well. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the conference and be sure to complete the survey by using the widget below.